I'm from L.A. California A hot. Days got shade. Let me take you round the way. A lot of out of towners can't handle this city where you wear the wrong color and it can get tricky. But that was '86 and things done changed. We a lot more evolved with the way that we bang. Not the rips and the dogs, man. The smoke might kill you, but you ain't gotta worry if you're staying north of Wilshire. Don't be scared of Crenshaw, the Slauson Super Mall, or Earl's Hot Dogs. Man, you gotta do it, y'all. Come on, come to the hood where we do the most good. Magic Johnson be owning everything like he should. Linwood, Long Beach, Hawthorne, Gardena from the towers in.
What's up, LA? Me again, because I know you love me. I'm hanging out at Joy Rich right now. We're about to go check out Raymond Roker, the creator of Herb Magazine. He's gonna let us pick his brain today. Let's go check him out inside.
Sex with L, don't sell affection. Sex with L, don't sell affection. Papa, I'm a millionaire.
So right now we're hanging out at Joy Rich with Raymond Roker, the creator, founder of Herb Magazine. Raymond, say hello to the camera, please.
Hello, camera.
How's it
What's
going?
up, camera?
Let me start out. Raymond, where are you from, man?
What, originally?
Yeah, originally.
Originally from the Bahamas, born in
really?
Nassau. Grew up in New Orleans after that from about 3 to 12. And moved out to LA when I was 12 years old.
All right, cool. Cool. And I mean, were you always into like the music, fashion, you know, anything that was cool pretty much? Were you always that type
I
of
would
person?
like to say I was always like that. I mean, I was always into what might be considered kind of artsy culture. In high school, I started doing graffiti, pretty much like early days of kind of LA graffiti, you know, and so it kind of connected me with a more of an artistic crowd, and we were always kind of like outcasts and stuff. And I went to Fairfax High right down the street. And,
oh wow, local boy.
Yeah, this is my hood, and you know, I kind of had like just in me a spirit of wanting to just kind of be creative, whatever it was. And then I went to junior college and started studying graphic design and whatnot. And that's kind of what led me to even remotely think about doing a magazine. But it was really getting into like underground music and going to kind of early warehouse parties. And I was not a kid who in the 80s was cool and was going to all the fresh places. Like, I was not that guy.
You were were you that backpack streak holding type kid? That
I was more like seriously, I was more into like metal. I was into alternative music. I was not into like, you know, new wave or any kind of like fresh, cool, trendy music. I was into like dark, not goth stuff, but like just rock and heavy metal, man. I was listening to Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and stuff like that while doing graffiti, while listening to hip hop. I mean, it was that convergence, you know. It was very much an LA thing. I'd go to the beach on the weekends, you know, go to Santa Monica with my boogie board and come back listening to Black Sabbath, go out on the weekends, Saturday night, listen to KDAY hip hop Mixmaster show. And, you know, it was all this convergence of all these cultural elements, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what fueled, you know, my interest in the culture. I mean, that was my background.
Tell me, how did the magazine come about? Were you the sole creator of it, or did you have a group of people that just launched the magazine?
Was not the sole creator. I was a co-founder. So, okay. and out of respect for my co-founder, I mean, I still put that whenever people intro or I put it I always say co-founder.
That's good. A lot of people.
My partner balanced exactly, but my partner, I have a lot of respect for him.
That's
He was
good.
Mark Bankins. I have no idea where he is these days. Kind of like my long lost, like, you know, ex or something. But we were friends. We worked together, and you know. This was a long time ago, so the technology was very different back then. But we met during kind of an early stage of desktop publishing, you know. And he inspired me from a technological standpoint to think about doing a magazine, because I really came from kind of, you know, old school background. You know, I was like pen and ink, and I used to do like stencils and drawings and graffiti and lettering and stuff. But he had this knack for putting together publications. He had done a couple of local local zines and whatnot. So
How old were you, and what year was this when you first came out with the magazine?
it was really funny too. This was ground zero too. Melrose Avenue was ground zero for the magazine.
Yeah.
Like when I first got it, this was the spot where I went and passed out most copies. Like I put them in. I mean, that wasn't that store and this wasn't this store, but I'd put them in all the like record shops and the clothing shops, all the like key spots all the way down the street. But this was 1990 when we came up with the concept in the summer of '90, and then it was December of '90 was the first issue, and that's 157 issues ago. New York Times, such a good paper compared to the rest of the papers, compared to like LA, right? The LA Times. It's because every day a New York Times writer gets on a train and goes to work, and he sees all sorts of people on that train: rich people, poor people, hoods, debutantes, right? And then he goes to work and he has a reference to which to write. Now it may be skewed, it may be full of whatever, but it's still, he has reference points. Whereas in LA, what does that same writer do? He drives from Pacific Palisades, gets on the freeway, and he gets off on the exit off the 110 or the 10 and goes to the LA Times building in downtown. Never sees another soul. Never interacts with another soul except maybe on the weekends. So I just don't think there's a cultural exchange.
The magazine started to pick up. You never had anyone try to come in and say, hey, why don't you try to go this direction? Have you always kept the same direction with this magazine?
Never had anybody come in and be presumptuous enough to say, we'll take it here. Yeah, I've had people talk and, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should go more mainstream, you should keep it underground, you should blah, blah, blah. Some people you pick up from what they're saying, some people you don't listen to at all.
Yeah.
I don't think if you were to look at the DNA of this Next 100 issue that we just came out with, here it is, in 2009, and you were to go back and look at an issue from, 1991 or 92, honestly would challenge you to tell me what the fundamental difference is in the magazine.
Yeah.
This is really the same magazine in a lot of ways.
Who was the very first Herb feature? Who was the very first cover? I want to know. I'm curious.
The first cover was actually was a non-artist. It was a girl named Jasmine Vega, who was still around in LA. She does PR.
Yeah.
She worked for Delicious Vinyl at the time, which is still around. But her role was kind of like she was a scenester. She would have been like a just a popular local person right then. Today, and the guy on the cover with her was a guy named Shane Mooney, who's Paul Mooney's son.
I mean, I'm not trying to blast these magazines because like I said, I think they're all good.
Sure,
but
sure.
Vice and how Vice was doing it, and you already doing stuff.
Well, we
like
put
that.
drugs on a cover of a magazine in '95 when it got us in trouble. You can't put drugs on the cover. We had a girl on the cover of our issue in 2000. It was like we were talking about the DEA. We've done several drug covers. We did one of a close-up of eyes, and it says, "Are we too high?" We were talking about the whole scene, like is the reason rave culture at the time?
Yeah.
Or is the reason that we're in such trouble and we've got all these anti-rave laws and all these busts and everything of parties and this demonization of the scene? Is it because we're all too fucked up? Is that the problem? So that was the issue that we're talking about. That we got in a lot of trouble. People were like, you can't out the scene like that. You can't do this. You can't talk about it like that. And you can't we put a girl on the cover with like a pill on her tongue. We had a casting call to get the models to come in to just do the shoot. And we had so many parents, as soon as they got there, we explained what the shoot was. They're like, they took their kids out the front door. We had an ad where this one dude, it was a Bronze Age ad, and it was really funny. The dude that did Bronze Age. A lot of these, it's really funny that some of these guys have really gone on to even the brands we work with, the people we work with. The guy that was running the company Bronze Age back then, it's this guy Mike Cassell who was doing Von Dutch. I mean, he ended up helping launch that and stuff. So, but anyway, back then he was doing a company called Bronze Age, and they had an ad that showed this guy, this black dude. Leaning against the fence, and this girl behind it dressing with a lot of cleavage out. He goes, "What's up, bitch?" That was the caption, and she says, "Nuttin', nigga." That white girl. Oh, man, we got a bomb threat. Someone literally said they're gonna come blow up our fucking offices. I think problem is people didn't know who was putting this magazine out. They probably thought maybe I was just some whatever, some white Beverly Hills kid trying to like do a hip hop thing because they didn't really know. I didn't put my picture in. They didn't know maybe I was black. That I'd have permission to say that if I was. But people were like, and this was like '92. We were doing so.
Where are you at now? As far as, you know, they got all this online stuff going on. It's like
online.
It seems like it's destroying. It seems like it's destroying the old school style, man. What you're all about.
I mean, in some ways it is, but I mean, it's kind of like things evolve, you know. I mean, you could argue that in some ways, I mean, we were part of. Well, we weren't part of destroying like what came before us, but in a sense, we were part of opening it up. I mean, literally before, like a magazine like Herb could have been created, when it was created in 1990, you would have had to have had, you know, whatever, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and launch any kind of a magazine. Because really, before like Macs were really easily kind of into doing the whole desktop publishing thing, how'd you go create a magazine? You didn't. I mean, you had to use hugely expensive equipment and computers, if you had computers, and so. Things evolve. I don't have any qualms with the new media world, blogs and all that. I love it, and in fact, I think the only way to thrive in this economy, in this cultural economy right now, is to go with the flow. You know.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself going with it, as far as hard copies and internet stuff like that, marketing?
I mean, the hard copies we still love. So working on a summer issue right now. We just came out with the next 100. That's one of our biggest issues of the year as far as popularity. People post that and get excited about it, especially if they're in it. Afro Samurai, support our sponsors. The next issue is actually working with Kid Cudi to help us guest edit. He's been coming up with pieces, and we just shot him for our cover. So I don't know when this is coming out, but that could be a scoop because that's not really public knowledge. And then we're doing a ton of digital. We're doing a ton of we've got a whole playlist that goes with this next 100 issue.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a free playlist that you can stream, and we're just working on our whole, I guess, online game, as you say, and it's just a matter of perfecting what we need to be as both a brand and delivery of content, and really getting the technology in order.
Well, I must say, thank you for giving us your time.
Absolutely.
I have been a fan of your magazine for a while now. Obviously, I'm only 24 years old, so I was 4 when it came out. I was 4.
Why you gotta throw that in there, man?
I was 4 or 5 when it came out. I'm not saying you're old or nothing, but you look really good for your age.
I'm his uncle.
Yeah,
I'm just an older uncle, I'm just your uncle, Uncle Ray.
Yeah. Well, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Raymond. I appreciate you coming through to Joy Rich. Let me do this.
Appreciate it.
Once again, another ABC's episode, Los Angeles. Check out the new quarterly episode. Check out the new quarterly issue.
They are episodes.
Episode and issue of Herb Magazine. You can buy it at your local magazine stand. Please spend money on something.
Herb.com.
Herb.com. Twitter. Give them all the sites.
You got Herb Mag, Twitter /Herb Mag. Herb.com. That's it. That's everything, really. You find us there, you got us.
All
follow
right,
us, though.
follow
Herb
me
Mag.
at Twitter /CBG123.
It's complicated.
Twitter.com/CB, right?
Twitter.com/.
CBG123. Thank you, and I will see you later.